get started, again, I'm Omari Graham. I am a grad student at the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center in Trinidad. And with me today, I have some distinguished researchers and volcanologists who we are going to get to know very shortly. And let's not waste any time. Let's get started. And I think we'll start with Charles. So each person should just introduce themselves and just tell us which observatory you look out of and generally what you do there. So we'll start with you, Charles.
Thank you, Omar. I am Charles Balagizi. I work for the Goma Volcano Observatory in the Department of Geochemistry. And the observatory is located in Central Africa on the border with Rwanda. And we do monitor Nyiragongo and Nyamulagira volcanoes, which are located in the western branch of the East African Rift System. Thank you.
Okay, Sara, could you go next?
Yes, hi everybody. This is Sara Barsotti. I work for the Icelandic Meteorological Office, that is the state volcano observatory in Iceland. My role here is the coordinator for volcanic hazards, and I'm responsible for the state volcano observatory. What we do each day, essentially we take care of more than 30 active volcanic systems that are in the country. And we try to make sure to see changes in the system and getting ready to respond in case a volcanic unrest or an eruption will start.
Great. Annalisa?
Okay, I'm Annalisa Cappello and I work at the Etnian Observatory of the INGV in Italy, the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology. The Etnian Observatory is one of the three main observatories. There's another in Naples, the Vesuvian Observatory, and another one in Rome, the National Center for Earthquakes. And I'm responsible for the volcanic hazards and risks. And I work in a very, in a great environment because we have the opportunity to monitor the Sicilian volcanoes, which are very active, like Etna or Stromboli. And we monitor them every day of the year during nights, and so it's a complete monitoring and surveillance. Thank you.
Awesome. And finally, we have Thomas.
Good day, everyone. My name is Thomas Christopher. I'm based at the Montserrat Volcano Observatory, which is currently run by the Seismic Research Center, SRC, University of the West Indies. The observatory is located in Montserrat, but because SRC is managing the observatory, we have access to all of the volcanoes in the Caribbean, apart from the one in, the ones in the French islands, which are namely Guadeloupe and Martinique. My specialty, my main role here is to look at degassing of volcanoes along the arc, looking at fluxes using UV spectroscopy, but I also do multigas studies to look at degassing ratios in these countries where SO2 is not in abundance. I'm also responsible for some geochemistry and petrology of hard rocks. So I do magma chamber studies specifically, and I'm looking at the chemistry of rocks and the chemistry of gases.
All right, so most of the persons viewing today are probably working on a graduate degree or looking for a job. could you all share with us how exactly you came into the job that you now currently hold? I think we'll go in the same order, Charles.
Personally, I came in love with volcanoes while I was still a student back in 2002 when Nyiragongo erupted, because my hometown is on the other shoreline of Lake Kivu. And there I was studying chemistry at university. And during the eruption, you know, people escaped and came to the other shore of the lake. And there we established a school, you know, and we started giving free lessons to, you know, the student that came from Goma. And then in March 2009, there was a major earthquake in the whole region. And there was a meeting about this earthquake in March 2009. And there I was not invited, went to this meeting, and there I found, you know, researchers and scientists who were giving talks. And, you know, I had the first idea of working with volcanoes. And then a few months later, there was a call about, you know, new scientists to be enrolled at the observatory. And then I applied, and, you know, in December 2009, I became a researcher at the Goma Volcano Observatory. So this is about the history.
Interesting story.
Yeah.
Sara?
Yes. So my path has been a little bit maybe more complicated. So I studied physics at the university. So I'm a physicist, and in Pisa, in Italy. And my last year, I was so annoyed by the studies there that I was really looking for something different. And that's when I met the group that in Pisa, they were somehow pioneering the numerical modeling approach for the description of volcanic processes. So I got in contact with the group led by Augusto Neri. At that time, working at the university in Pisa in the Earth Sciences department, and I just did my master thesis with him on a numerical model aimed or designed to describe the pyroclastic flows evolution. So I was just implementing a module to describe the turbulence in the pyroclastic flows. Said that, then I was still a little bit unsure about the future, but then I eventually decided to start to study in the University of Bologna, where I took my PhD in the numerical modeling for the environmental protection. And the focus there really started to be what eventually is currently my job. So I started to work on numerical modeling of another part of the volcanic eruption process, so more into the atmospheric dispersal and distribution of volcanic ash and volcanic cloud. And it was timely because in those years, there were this long-lasting eruption that occurred in Etna, where the tephra fallout and all the issues related with volcanic ash and the aviation started to be so evident also also in Italy. Then I became a researcher at the INGV, that is the same institute for which Annalisa works now, that is the Institute for Geophysics and Volcanology in Italy. I kept working there for a few years until Eyjafjallajökull volcano erupted in Iceland in 2010. And it is true that it has been a kind of turning point. So already when I was there in Italy, I was already working on again on the problematic of volcanic ash and all the threat to the aviation. And of course, that eruption was somehow bringing the problem to such a big audience and revealing all its potential to the European community. So shortly after, the meteorological office in Iceland, so the Volcano Observatory here, they opened a position. So they had a call that was internationally just public. And it was the last day when it was possible to send an application that I said, well, okay, just do it. Just send the application there, because they were really looking for a person with the background that I had. And it was so odd that the call really was so close to my profile that I was really thinking, if I'm not applying now, whenever else. So then I applied to this position, and the decision was difficult. I was at that time with 3 very young kids, but eventually that's what happened. I got the position, and we moved to Iceland. Now it is 7 years since I'm here, and yes, and the life here is still quite challenging under a lot of perspectives.
Nice. Annalisa?
Okay, my career is unusual too, in the sense I had a lower degree in computer science in 2006, and during a ceremony for an award that I won for my master thesis, one colleague proposed me to apply for a public call that was that were going to ban at the observatory, and they were looking for a researcher that has my background. So I applied and I won for a 1-year scholarship, and then I did the PhD in computer science for 3 years, and I started working with volcanoes and got passionate about volcanoes. And obviously I had to study a lot. I attended a lot of university classes in volcanology, geophysics, and even during my PhD I traveled a lot to gain experience from other researchers worldwide. I visited the different research institutes in Azores, in Canary Islands, university like in Bristol. And after my PhD, I had 3 years, not 4 years of postdoc. And then there was a public call for young researchers in volcanic hazards, and I applied, and after in 2017 then I became first a temporary researcher, and then as a researcher, and then permanent. Thank you.
So finally, Thomas, tell us about your journey.
Well, this eruption, first of all, the Caribbean arc, eruptions are not common. So there was no historical eruption in my lifetime for me to fall in love with volcanoes with. But the way how this eruption unfolded, we had about 3 years of earthquake swarms, which were happening while I was still in high school. And the physics teacher more or less told us, these are volcanic events. I had no idea there was a volcano here. So just after I left school, the eruption started. And, you know, I started going to the observatory and speaking to the scientists. And I had no idea that a subject called geology existed. I was a big fan of physical geography. But when I think it was Simon Young, he was one of the scientists at the observatory at the time, who more or less explained to me what geology was all about. You know, I said, you know, I think I would love this. And I registered to go to University of the West Indies to do a degree in geology. And because I was also big on chemistry as well, I sort of focused on the geochemical aspects of volcanoes and not geophysics or anything else. So it was a proper effort to become a geochemist on my part, because that is what I wanted to do in the end. So I did a degree at UWI, and then I did some postgrad studies in England with Dave Pyle and Clive. My PhD was actually on the 2001 eruption of Mount Etna, and it was a petrology PhD. So I am actually a petrologist by trade, although I do degassing here.